Well, hello everyone. Welcome to today's stream here. Today we are going to be doing some Minecraft. And the idea that I want to do here is, this is the creative copy of my world. You can probably see on my hotbar here, I do technically have Axiom installed now. I've never used it, so I don't know how much I'll actually be taking advantage of its capabilities this stream, but it's there, it exists. What I really am trying to do today is not so much worry about that, but we've got a few of these buildings done, more or less designed, etc. The biggest one that I think is probably the most complete is actually the bank here. Put a lot of effort into making this all set up, so that's looking pretty good. The house here, I started doing some of the exteriors, but there's still a lot of work that we could do detailing some of the siding and stuff. It's pretty good though, except for this side. We'll get to that later. And then the library's basically done. The inside and the outside, I don't, really have a whole lot else I want to do there. And then this, we have the interior is all done, but not the exterior. We've got lots going on the interior here. I kind of forgot. I don't really come in here very often, but that's, and then in the last episode that I did on my YouTube channel, we did this. I designed it here and then I built it over on my survival world. And that is quite nice. I'm very happy with that, although the outside's a little wacky, but that's not the focus of today. The focus of today is going to be things like this building I've done nothing with. The exterior of this we could do more with. We might just, excuse me, maybe we just texture it like this using some granite. That would just break it up a little bit. We haven't done anything with that or that. We have kind of done stuff with the yard here, but not really anything with the building itself, especially not the interior. We haven't done anything with this other than, you know, this to be sort of like an attic vent. The interior is still just grass on the floor. Exterior's okay, but we could do something else. The composters gave it kind of the nice log cabin vibe. And then this entire block here, I've done nothing with. So, I don't know. I think maybe we start over here. Just because this seems like the easy place to start. 1 second. I need to stop coughing all the time. So we could just do replace mode. That's a thing. Whoa. That's not what I wanted. That's awesome. So, I mean, you know, it could be just like random snippets here and there. I don't know. Y'all are getting a nice insight into my process here, which is what process? You know what we could do? We could add some kind of awning over this. Stairs. So we could do, I do love me, no more replace mode. That's too high. That's incorrect. Also incorrect. Incorrect. Why do you only place things incorrectly? Well, that's too low. Was this correct? And then, yes, fems. Or we do wall. feel like a fence is correct. Black stone. See, that's chonky. We could do, let's just grab a fence, for example. I've done something like that a few times, or I haven't done it at all here. Never mind. It could, whoa. Like it could be this kind of a number just to add some depth to the front. I think let's use a different fence. I think that gives a better sense of belonging. Belonging is not really the right word. I'm not really keen on this. But like if we used a wall, it would, I think, look weird. We can do this, but then we need it to come out, so we could do deep slate tile slabs. Is that too much? Do we then need to do this? Or do we need to do this? I feel like that is wrong. What if we move it out over the windows? And then, but like maybe all of it's stairs, but not like that. Hello? That might, Excuse you. Sorry, flowers. Or do I like that one better? Why is this so hard? There's another mod that I kind of miss. I used to have I don't even remember what it's called anymore. Or do I just want, I feel like that's better. Where it lets you just kind of place things in whatever orientation you want. The problem with this is this. So with the stairs, like ideally if you could get it so the stair was like here and then here, because then this would be overlapping. And I think that the fact that this is just like there and there is what it is that I don't like. But that is too chonky. So now we have this, which I guess is kind of what I just said I wanted. But like, I'd want it here. Like a quarter block, not even a half. But let's pretend for now that this is what we're going for. It does add a little bit of depth to the front here. It breaks up this flat front, which is nice. It still leaves me a little bit of room for the windows there, but it does make me wonder if I shouldn't actually bring it a little bit more. And then what if I did like a wall for the bottom? I might be thinking about this too realistically. Like in my mind, you wouldn't usually just throw these pillars straight into the dirt. Or if you did, you would bury them in like concrete. So, you know, this might still go down to the ground, but then in the ground, it's poured in concrete. So maybe we just kind of ignore reality and pretend there's a concrete foundation under those for now. Is this what I want? Let's leave it for now, and we'll leave just these little bits of breakup here. There we go. Just to lend something to the front. And we could even do something like shutters. So we could do, you know, Old Faithful here. Mind you, it's kind of ruined by that, which is something I ran into with the bank here. So in the case of the bank, I just opted to leave this one out, which I think is okay. Now this guy, we have this big Cyclops window here. So for that one, we could do trap door. We'd probably want something pretty high contrast. But I think this is the sort of window, since it's 3 wide, you wouldn't really have shutters on. Like that's more of a portrait window. I wonder if that's too big. So in my mind, when I made this building, back here was gonna be like a kitchen, which is why there's no window there, no window there. But maybe we should have a window there. The thought process was just that, like, you know, you would need to have your counters and things. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I'm not gonna do a ton with the interior. Maybe we do copper doors here? But we did them, no, those are warped wood. Or maybe we stick to this kind of a theme. I think that works better. Now the problem there is I don't think we can really do that down here very effectively. It would have to be... We can, but I think that's too much. That's not terrible. And then we could do my favorite lighting in the game. Lanterns. Which would allow me to get rid of that torch, I think. Yeah. Up here, we will probably come in and do, ooh, wait a minute. You know what I haven't done anywhere? I haven't done it on any of these, is like a secondary roof. So like, what if this did one of these numbers? And then we would need to kind of fill that in with something else. Brick? No? I feel like no on brick. This is why I don't do this too much. So now we can't do anything there. Like, I wouldn't hate the roof line, but because I've used trapdoors, I think we're kind of trapped. Get it? Trapped. With what we can do. It would be neat to break it up. We could also just put something up there like little attic fan sorts of things. Just little textures like boom. I mean boom. But probably not quite like that. We'll have to rethink about that. But for now, maybe that's okay for the front. I was muted. Really, the most important view is down here. Let's leave that for now. Now, the other thing will be at some point here around the back. Obviously, I haven't done anything. And we can just kind of do some more texturing and such. But I don't want to. What have I done? Huh? There's too many buttons with this mod. Okay, so we'll call that for right now. Now I know somewhere in the Axiom tool set. Oh wow. There's like a gradient tool or something. Whoa. Whatever. It's neither here nor there. So for right now, I think we can probably call that okay on this building. The texturing is kind of meh. But there's additional depth, which I didn't have before, which is nice. Well, hey, you got back your sanity for pulling that card. These two, what am I gonna do with these? Maybe... Whoa! Whoa, what is this? Gradient. Painter. I don't think I'm ready for that. Oh, there's schematics? Ooh. Fill? Replace? What is auto shade? No. Oh, I have to click the things. Settings. Some tools require a block. I can switch which block. This is the main viewport. Left button rotates, right button uses tools. Click and left. Undo and redo and my clipboard. No, I don't think I'm ready for that. You re-picked up Minecraft. It's a fun game. Oh, wow, really? I just have holes here? Well, good job, me. I should probably close those up, huh? This nonsense is a mod. In case it wasn't very clear. Slope, elevation, smooth? What is all this? Will I live? No! You died to the ghost. Okay, what are our white? Oh, I found the gradient helper. So we have this. Hold on, let's be gone with that. So we have this. White. Where does it put that block? Here. So similar blocks. What is this? Calcite? Pale oak. Chiseled quartz. I don't know. Iron? Interesting. Kinda. I mean, the problem is that it does this. I think in this case it would be more about doing a gradient because they're like similar but not. The problem is definitely that pale oak is more pink than I might normally want. Which makes sense in the context of this color picker. I think if I was like maybe here, this might be a little bit more accurate. not transparent. No, wait. I disabled that, so should not be transparent. What other options? Block of quartz, smooth quartz. Oh, that's about same texture on all sides. Yeah, that I don't care about. Could be worse. Because that's very bright. That's actually a lot more similar than I thought it might be. And that is the same on all sides, is that correct? No. But it doesn't matter how I place it. Okay. So it's always gonna look like that. So if that was like this. Or is that weird? I don't think I like that. That's too... Whee! Okay, this mod is pretty sweet. So... I think for this building, it's not necessarily going to be about adding textures. It's going to be about adding depth, adding things. So these windows, where was it? We're going to use no clip for this. So we did the windows like this. Okay, so when standing, yeah, okay, that's only while flying. We could do shutters, I guess. So shutters would be probably something nice and dark. No. Not like that. Or cherry, because we have the cherry door, right? This is very similar luminance and not that different saturation though. So if we're going for contrast, this ain't it. No. Trap. What about birch? That could work. That middle one is a no for me, dog. Here, though, that's what I thought. So if we want the handle down, Yes, I remember now. Remember earlier how I was talking about how trapdoors were annoying? Yep, ran into that there. So we could do that here. Oop. I might leave that. I mean, it's a lot of shutters. I'm not sold on these ones. But I think for the side, that breaks that up nicely, and we probably won't put one there. Now, the pale oak one is solid, so we can't use that for an attic vent. We could potentially use an iron one. It would have to be... You suck, redstone. Really? But of course now we can see that, which is not what I wanted. Ugh, gross. I mean, it kind of adds darkness, but I actually want the trapdoors facing the other way, if this is even going to work. Alternatively... No. Really? What the heck? Excuse you. We could do white wool. And then like a torch. And then dust. And then target blocks. Hello? Excuse you? Is that better? Whatever. Let's just observe the trapdoors for what they are here. Do we care about that? Maybe. Otherwise, our options is like that. I think this makes the most sense if we're trying to get it to kind of blend. There aren't really like black trapdoors. And we are limited by things that have holes in them if we're trying to make it make sense. Now, what else we could do is not that. We could go black. Don't even care what black it is. Let's just concrete, sure. And then this would need to be repeaties. What am I doing? And then whatever. doesn't even matter. That would add a bunch of depth, but what if we did gray? Gray. Gray, light gray maybe. Yes. So that gives me a little bit of contrast without going too deep. That's okay for this side. Then we could potentially do like window planters. So the classic is this kind of a thing. And then, you know, flowers. That wasn't helpful. Where's decorative? Sure, flowers. Decorative orange, and then we've definitely added something. Now looking at our palette here, wrong button. Wrong button. No, that's lighter, which is not helpful. My thought process with this is about darkening this top edge. No. I think that's too stark. They're very light on the saturation. The problem is that like diorite's gonna be too much. We could try like white concrete powder. No. Not really happy with any of those. My thought here is to add like fake shadow to darken this line. I wanted to see if I could add it there. The answer is no. Now we could have fudged this a little bit here. We have the armor stand poser mod, armor poser, which would have allowed me to essentially place one of these and then fudge it up into that space so that we could still have this slab. The other option would be deep slate tile stairs. Wonder. If I kind of connect it like that. No. That kind of disguises it better, right? Now, ideally, I would be able to get some white in there, but it's very minor. Oh, I can't. I see it. It would be this. No. That's fine. I mean, it does soften it a little bit. Maybe I should do that on both sides here? Okay. So it 3Difies it a little bit. It softens that transition slightly. We really can't do anything about this little bit without messing that up, unfortunately. But I do think that is slightly better. So back over here. I've been muted for a minute. Anyway, I was saying we should put some bushes here. I have to remember after I drink my water to unmute myself. So we've got bushes that do add some depth. Obviously, we'll need to cover over that redstone. That's not a hard thing though. That could just be, you know, like slabs for the roof. That's just to allow me that. But then what do we do about here? Do I want another one of these? But like taller? Or but like more differenter? It looks like a mustache. And I think we also run into the issue of this light being here. I could move it. Like maybe with these houses being here, maybe we don't need, where we're going, we don't need roads. Now we would need to add a thingam across here. I do think this is too high. So it would have to be more like that. Don't love the look of that. So when I've seen these in my neighborhood, it's the black roof, usually, and then siding here, which would mean this. The problem is I can't put a slab there. That's about the right depth. Can you put these on top of No. So they would just be more like, sure, why not? I don't just want this to be solid black. Baby. These villagers going, huh? Is gonna make me crazy. So, I can't get over the mustache. I think we're gonna have to scrap this idea. But what else could we do there then? This section is a go. One option is some kind of windowsills. Stairs? Stairs? Not those stairs. Birch? No. Shoo-ba-doo. No, I don't think that either. This part is hard. This is also going to be hard over here. I really didn't leave myself with a lot of things. Let's take a break from that. Here we have a nice little one-story building. And I've already textured the outside, more or less. I think that works okay. We should probably just go ahead and put a door in. I remember when I did this, the thought process was that we could have like an outdoor area here, which is why there's this exit. I'm not entirely sure that makes sense, but I think what I want is for this to be like a clothing shop, which is really going to make it not make a ton of sense for these guys. So we have a toolsmith and an armor. We could put like leather workers in here. If that is the case, then what we need is a floor. Oh, that feature is real nice. Is that a good floor? Especially when it comes to doors. A+. Or do I want a different color? Because we could go with like gray. Could do like sad beige. White concrete is going to be very white. Brown. I think brown's going to be a no for me, but none of our buildings, so we did like spruce. We haven't done just oak floors anywhere. So we could just do standard oak floor. Sure. But is that fancy enough? This is like a clothing boutique. if it's gonna be a boutique, should it be more fancy? Maybe fancy just means carpets. Not carpets, rugs. But we're gonna need these probably. It'll be like a plinth, yeah. So maybe we have one there, and we have one there, and up there, and there. Where's that? That might be too many. It's an extra bougie. So then we go. Then this would be... There's no white concrete stairs. Of course there's not. Why would there be? Ooh. Armor stand. It may not matter. Let's put these all at no gravity for right now. And then we could do smooth quartz stairs. Stick with me. Wait. Wait. So that would allow me to do 4, and then obviously I would have to fudge it over with the mod, which is okay. But then that kind of fundamentally alters the plan. And those intrude way more. So I think probably no. Probably stick with this. We can change that color later. We'll add light in here in a minute. Probably it's gonna be some basic light. Yes, and we can because of how the ceiling is. Shoo-ba-doo, shoo-doo, shoo-boo-ba-doo. Ah, yes. My ridiculous contraption. Anyway, wrong building. And then counter would be so then hello, welcome to my clothing boutique. Yes. Your finest leathers, please. So then up top maybe this is where we go white concrete. Yeah. It's going to lower the ceiling just a smidge, but I think that's probably okay. Yeah. So then chain. And we can do... This seems like a sea lantern kind of joint. So you walk in and it's like, oh. And then, you know, obviously on the armor stand, we would put some kind of armor. I don't think I could, just for the funs of it. This could be where I store some of my stuff. There we go. So, I mean, we could also just take like leather armor and dye it and do, you know, outfits. Blue jeans and a white t-shirt kind of outfit. And these would be our mannequins. And so right here, this would be checkout. Now then, why is that door there? If this is a clothing boutique, why would they have an outdoor area? Does that even make any sense? Or are we just gonna close it off? I think maybe we just close it off. And then... windows. Yeah. It was a neat idea, but I don't think I'm gonna do anything with that. So maybe we just do that. Now, what about the front? I think if we're gonna do lanterns, these would be the blue ones, the soul lanterns. But we can't just hang them from the wall because Mojang said no. So I almost don't mind the big forehead. I think that's probably okay. I think this interior is probably fine. Like we could maybe add like a cash register. But to add a cash register, I think we would need to armor stand mod in stairs. Stairs. Like a polished deep slate stairs maybe. Something vaguely cash registry. And at the end of the day, these are mostly just, am I even gonna populate this? Probably not. So maybe it doesn't matter. It might be better to leave that like that, I think. I don't know. I'm on the fence about that one, but I think that that is an overall improvement to this building because it's got nice big windows. You can at least see inside, which would give you some semblance. What we could do, hold on, walls. And maybe it's this kind of a joint. Lanterns. Hold on. Seems like to me it could be that kind of a place. Or iron fence. Maybe more of that kind of a place. I think I kind of wish that that was bigger. Somewhere in between the two. The walls are too thick. This is too thin. A fence would probably be okay. If we do nether brick, maybe that would be dark enough. The red, not my favorite for this. Dark oak though? Yeah, maybe it's that kind of a place. I think we leave that for now. So we've got a lot of this building. The exterior of this building hasn't really changed at all, but the interior has some stuff going on, which helps. I haven't even touched this building. It might be fun to touch this building. I don't want to do another wood plank building right now. I'm so tired of them. And I have another one of the same color. Why did I do this? With a really weird roof structure. These two, I can't even really do much with, honestly. Like, they're too small. So there's not a lot that we can do with texturing or depth or whatever, but we could definitely stick some greenery around to add something. This building we could probably do stuff with. When I was over looking at what I could do with this building, I tried like doing slight gradients. So I took some of these bricks and added them in there, and that does work. But like, you really have to be careful. And using standard Minecraft here instead of having shaders kind of complicates some of that. There's a gnat. I got it. So let's go here. We have this. It's not even really a gradient. Color picker. Oh. So things that are adjacent to this. I can kind of see where they're going with these. What is that? Stripped cherry wood. but I don't think that's what I'm going for. Yeah, it's pretty stark. It's not bad. It's just not what I want. That's gonna be the same. That adds something, like it's just different, but I'm not sure that that makes it better per se. Somewhere in, I think we're okay in the RGB space. So, well, let's go with less saturation, maybe. A little darker. Not quite. We're getting to... I think somewhere around here is the closest that I'm seeing. Mushroom stem. Oh. No, no on the mud. I don't necessarily think we need to do a ton. We've already added these for some degree of difference. We can't really do an attic vent very well other than here specifically. And we're gonna be kind of limited in terms of like trap doors. I think that would work if we wanted to push the attic vent idea, which I'm not necessarily opposed to, just to add something. And then if we wanted to, we could do, wall. No, that's not what I wanted. No, I think this would be more this kind of a thing. I don't love that it connects right there. The idea being to give it some kind of chimney, but that really blends in, doesn't it? So we might want to go a little darker. There. Now, we can't really put a torch. I mean, we could bury a campfire farther down, but it would come up around the wall, which wouldn't really make any sense. I haven't done a whole lot of the pretending with whatcha-who's-its fireplaces. So like over here, we do have the campfires, but they're not actually coming out the top. Iron. We can do that. Sure. Or we could turn this into like a wind vane. Yeah, maybe instead of that. Stop sticking to things, man. No. I don't like that. But I think we could do that. That leaves it kind of an interesting vibe. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but I think it looks okay. The outside here is fine. I tried several times to do something with some kind of overhang here, and I just couldn't make it work. So I think maybe we just don't. But we could do a firefly bush. Just to add a little bit of something like at night. Oh, they're big, huh? Does that work? Yes. Yes, it does. Why is that firefly way over there? I don't know. But now I have a little bit of movement, which I think is neat. Okay. Here. I just feel like this needs something, but I don't know what. We could do, but actually I think spruce would be the move here. Anyone familiar with woodworking, these would be sort of equivalent to like a mortise and tenon kind of joint, and then bloop. Just to add a little extra depth. I don't hate it. I don't know that it is enough to be necessary, but I don't hate it. So I think maybe next, let's focus on the inside. This might be another oak floor kind of place. Or maybe it's a spruce floor kind of place. I don't know. Oops. There we go. I think that's okay. Fireflies, why are you inside? So maybe we move the bush a little farther out, huh? That's okay. We'll figure that out later. For now, I think this is the first step. And then it's probably gonna need to be another stone oak floor kind of situation, and then up here is maybe Excuse you. Colored blocks. This is too dark. Torch. Let's just add some lighting back in real quick. I think that's a good color combo, but I'm not sure it's the move for the ceiling. So, concrete powder falls, right? Yeah. Not helpful. Just do wool. If we don't want to go full concrete. Yeah, okay. I got it. So now it's like my least favorite ceiling of all time. It's like a popcorn ceiling. Which would be a thing that's in an older building. If we're sticking to this being an older type of building. I think I decided it was called Queen Anne. I don't remember. Or maybe that's what my house is. Whatever. It doesn't even matter. This might be more Victorian. We could still do some like can lights. I think we don't need to go nuts here. Because the reality is that I'm very rarely, if ever, going to come in here. It's just to add some sense of like, it's a house as opposed to an empty shell. Y'all, this chair is the worst. I'm getting a new one, but it's not here yet. So for the next floor, we would need to do slabs, maybe? I always get iffy about doing slabs. Maybe we just do blocks, but if we do blocks, well, it's going to be the same on the top and bottom anyway, because the only way around that is to do top slab here, or top slab here, and then a bottom slab up there. Could. So we could throw in another oak floor. Chop out the light for a minute. We'll figure out how the stairwell is working in a moment, but let's call that, and then we're gonna go slab. We could do this, or we could do our smooth quartz thing for another white ceiling. Classic. Everybody loves a white ceiling. Now, how do you get upstairs? Hello? Let me up, please. I'm just gonna do that for right now. Sure. And then, I don't know, a slab. Sure. Makes them a little chunkier. Now we can get up the stairs. Doesn't need to be super fancy. There might be something coming down there. We'll figure that out in a minute. And then lighting. Functional. I think for this, we're gonna go with a yellower light. Maybe it's a centralized light. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then up here. We do something like that. We could enclose that. We could change the slabs here to smooth quartz stairs so that they surround this if we wanted. But for right now, let's check the most important view out here. So now there's light in there. This might be more of a lantern type place. Let's, or a lamp sort of place. You know what I mean? I dislike that I can't keep that. So I haven't left myself a ton of room. I think maybe the staircase should actually be somewhere else. How would we feel? No. No. Not what I wanted. No. Staircases. Staircases are one of those things in Minecraft that is just always tricky. Like, how do I actually get up the stairs? This is definitely a place that needs to have 2 floors. We could certainly up here do iron. Why is it so hard to type? Iron bars. Shoot. 'Cause I use slabs. Fudge butts. We'll stick with that then. I've changed my mind about the lamps. We'll just stick with this. If I try to put a lamp upstairs, I use the slabs, which means in order to put it on something, I need to make it go up another one, and that is annoying. This kind of acts like a baseboard trim, which is kind of neat, actually. I didn't really intend for that, but I think it works. trying to put some kind of kitchen here. We could do cauldron. Double sink. Water buckets. So there's our sink, and then we could wrap it. So we could do tarp doors. There's our sink and cabinets and all that. We could do burls. Actually, I'd probably do this. That's a little awkwards. So kind of like a mini sink here. Maybe that's where all the storage is, because it's a small place. They don't have all the room that they might otherwise want. But they have a double sink. Maybe not. And then smoker. Rail. It's like a little mini kitchenette. And then they could have copper. This is like the world's tiniest kitchen, but there's our fridge. The cupboards are all technically accessible. Or maybe we do one of these awkward things. Maybe it's like this. It's not best practices, but it's a little bit more functional. You know, fridge, stove, sink, cupboards. Sure. And then, you know, they got a little table. For a little table, just a little guy, we can do a fence. We'll add a little bit of contrast here. And then pressure plates. It's cramped, but it is what it is. And then up here would be probably the world's tiniest bedroom and bathroom. Whatever. It doesn't need to be all that realistic. So from outside, none of that stuff that I just did matters. You will never see any of it. Except from here you can kind of see some. Cool. Glad I wasted my time on that. What we might do then, maybe I replace I'm not feeling the white wool. Smooth quartz block. Let's do this so that I can more easily replace. Because I'm feeling lazy. And from outside, that sticks out a little less, which I like. Okay, good. So from up here, what we might actually be able to see budge. Dang it. Shoot. Let me think about this. This is why I want to be able to put the ceiling on that level and then the floor as the top slab, but I can't because you can't mix and match slabs that way. Mojang. Let's just say for the moment, it doesn't matter. No one's ever gonna see this. Hot. And then we could put, where's like a too high flower? Can I not? Huh? I can see the vaguest hint. My thought process here is like, what's the sort of thing that they might actually have up there? And then, excuse you? Why did you do that? How can I make it so I might see it? We could hanging plants. I mean, I could also move this. There we go. That adds a little something. However, it being in this decorated pot is completely meaningless. So I think instead we can do sure. Something like this. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to make the most sense from inside. It's just to add some life from outside. So let's just say that, wow, even with this open, because of how this is, you really see none of that, huh? I mean, I guess you kind of do. Whatever. So there's a little bit of life to that building. A little bit going on there. A little going on there. Now, what can we do here? I've made this roof probably unreasonably thick. The turret, I think, should stay the same blocks. more or less. We have in our color picker things that are similar. Probably something more like this. A little lighter. Not quite that saturated. Somewhere around there, probably. These are all potentially interesting things, but it really just depends, like, what do I want to do with it? So we've already textured this a bit. The backside here, I think, is okay. The roofs. The struggle here is that all of this looks very basic Minecraft. It's missing something. I could come around and potentially redo all of this so it's white around the edges to try to simulate like a gutter. That would need to be something like this maybe, or this. I don't think I like that though. On the other ones, I also did it up the sides, but you wouldn't have a gutter there. You would have trim because you need to protect the wood underneath from rot. That is a little more subtle of a transition. I mean, I suppose it's not about subtlety, really, is it? But I'm still not convinced. So I'm gonna change it back. It's just it's too much, and it's not the change I'm looking for, I think. Really what it boils down to is we have this big empty space, this big empty space, a little bit of space there, and then this whole thing. And I don't think it's about necessarily texture. It's not about making a gradient. Inside we have this wall is a thing. I also still need to finish the bathroom. We never made a toilet or anything. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. I mean, I could put some, like, bushes. What are these? Are these azalea? Oak. I mean, I'm sure I could put the azalea leaves there, like the flowering ones, just to add a little bit more something something. Oh, there's also that there. how have I done this? Why have I done this? I don't think there's a whole lot that I can do here with the composters. Spruce is similar but not. Jungle is gonna be too light. Boy, is it. This is another building that was gonna need a floor, a second floor. I think it's actually gonna be a one floor sort of thing, but with an attic that they've been using for storage. So it's gonna be beat up, spider webs, that kind of, ooh, spider webs. Yes, spider webs. We'll have an attic with spider webs in here, I think. I am still just blanking. I think because my brain is not working, that's gonna be where I'm gonna end it for this video. If you guys want to help me out here, I would love it. You could join me live over on Twitch. That's where I'm doing a lot of these build things. Twitch.tv/Nudos, link in the description. I would love any sort of opinions, advice, etc. on what to do with a lot of these things that I am struggling with here. We have the tools, we have Axiom now, so there's all these brushes and things. They give me shapes and gradient painters and stuff like that. We have gradient tools and color pickers, but as you probably saw, it's not enough for me. So anyway, if you liked the video, make sure you subscribe. Join me over on Twitch, like I said, and I will see you guys in the next one.